Hello, and welcome to Sound Off with System One. I'm Rich Weed, System One's Director of Marketing, your host today, and we're here with Jackie Daniel and Lexi Foose Abbott to discuss gaps, experience issues, and other complicated resume scenarios. We apologize for being a little late starting today. We had a little bit of technical challenge, but that's all fixed, and so we're just going to get going. System One is a leading provider of specialized, highly technical, and outsourced services and workforce solutions to critical infrastructure, technology, life sciences, and government sectors. With more than 650 staff and 9,000 contractors and consultants hard at work every day in the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Please, while you're joining us today and listening in, we're happy that you're here. Send us a note on LinkedIn. Tell us where you're joining us from and what industry you work in. We have Tracy producing and moderating the comments. Feel free to connect with all of us on LinkedIn and visit our career portal at jobs.system1.com. Let's get to introducing our expert panel today. Lexi, please introduce yourself. Tell us your favorite aspect of being a recruiter and give us your hot job today.
Hi, my name is Alexis Foose Abbott, and I'm a recruiter for System One's renewable energy team here in Houston, Texas. My favorite part of being a recruiter definitely has to be getting to talk with people all day, interact with them, and help them out. My hot job of the week is a solar project manager. This is a 100% traveling position. The pay is $100,000 to $120,000 a year plus per diem.
Awesome. That sounds like a great position, especially if you like to travel around the United States.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that. Jackie, please introduce yourself. Tell us your favorite part about being a recruiter and give us your hot job for today.
Hi, my name is Jackie and I'm a recruiter in the engineering department. My favorite part about recruiting is connecting and building relationships with my candidates. Right now I'm hiring for a recruiter in San Antonio. This requires 1 to 4 years of full cycle recruitment experience and a bachelor's degree.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Well, let's get right into the topic now that we've got introductions over and some of the admin. Resume gaps, experience, and other complicated scenarios on a resume. I know Lexi and Jackie, you guys as being the professional recruiters with System One, you see thousands of resumes every year. And you've probably seen just about every experience that somebody could have. And I'm sure you guys give advice and guidance constantly about what to do with, complex resume issues. So let's just jump right in here. And Lexi, if you would, let's talk about an aspect of resume gaps experience. So go ahead.
Definitely. Starting with no experience, I can definitely speak on that. I was there a year ago, fresh out of college with an HR degree and no experience and just wanting to start my career. And, you look at different job postings on different job boards, and even these entry-level positions, some of them require 1 year to 3 years of experience. I didn't have that. I had worked a part-time job all throughout college. Now I worked for the same job all throughout college, but I didn't have the so relevant experience needed for these positions. So I remember going to my first interview for a job out of college, and they were asking me all these questions, situational questions, as if I had come out of a different professional career position. And I didn't have that. I just simply asked, do you mind if I answer these questions with relation to what I did in my previous part-time job in college, which is all I had. And from there, it just flowed so much more natural. It was definitely a better route in going that way than forcing it and trying to come up with different things that I couldn't speak on. But when it comes to getting your resume ready with no experience, definitely out of college, put your relevant coursework in your education. Those relevant coursework that is relevant to the positions or the industry that you're applying for is super helpful, along with volunteer experience and your extracurriculars, your side jobs, those things all matter in there.
Awesome. And I think just to comment on what you're talking about experience, everybody thinks when you're looking at a resume that experience has to be related to a particular job or a set of jobs. But but you can gain relevant experience in a lot of places, whether you're again, as you said, volunteering, or whether it's, you're helping out your kids, sports team, or even doing things with your church or other groups. When you're doing things that are relevant, and you gain experience, and it doesn't have to necessarily be with a job, and you can use those to help bolster your resume.
Absolutely.
Jackie, what thoughts do you have?
As far as when it comes to no experience, I think we've all been there. We've all been given a chance. I think it's best that the only way to get yourself out there is to apply. I know that it can be discouraging, but there are a lot of people out there that are willing to give you an opportunity. A plus of working with a staffing agency is you can always check in with them. You can see what opportunities they do have available that require no experience at all. And to highlight what you said, you always want to list your skills, your volunteer work, transferable skills, even at that. You definitely want to show how you can be a perfect fit for this role that requires no experience.
Excellent points. I agree completely.
Yeah.
Lexi, can you add any more to that?
I think she sums it up great. Definitely transferable skills. Absolutely. There's skills that you are learning, knowledge you're gaining, even if it's not, sitting at the desk at the office or things. You're constantly learning skills that could help you in the workforce.
Agree. Jackie, back to you.
I really don't think there's anything else to touch on that.
Okay,
I think Lexi
great.
and myself covered it.
Yes.
Awesome. I got a situation, Lexi. I'm going to throw this over to you. Let's say somebody has a resume and they've got some gaps in it, and at the same time they're thinking about making a career change. How would somebody approach that on their resume and potentially in an interview? How could they address that?
Definitely. I mean, that's something, as for myself working in the renewable energy division at System 1, something we see often. We have our GWO certified renewable energy training center here in Houston. So we constantly have guys and girls reaching out, wanting to make the switch to being, wind turbine technicians. So it's something we see often, and that we certify our technicians and such at our renewable energy training center. But when you're wanting to make that switch and pivot to a different industry, different role, definitely go brush up on your skills, get online certifications, new licenses, things that are focused more towards to where you're wanting to pivot.
That's awesome. Jackie, I've got a resume challenge for you. Here's another scenario. Somebody who has, a very extensive resume, but maybe their last position, they were unfortunately let go, or even worse, they were fired. How would they address that on their resume and in an interview?
As far as addressing that in an interview, I think the best option for you is to always be honest. And it's okay to let people know, unfortunately, this didn't work out. I was let go. You can always advise them of how you've moved forward and you fixed some of those issues and how you've corrected that. As far as on an interview, as far as in the resume, that's a little bit of a tough one. I would say I would leave that blank. And I think that when you're asked in person, I think that's a perfect opportunity for you to cover it. I would not put an end reason on there if you were let go. I would definitely address that in the interview and when asked.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. Lexi, let's go back to you. Here's another resume scenario that I'd like you to comment on. Let's say somebody has got a very long tenured position. They've been at the same company, maybe done the exact same job for a decade or more, and that may be their only position. How would they go about maybe in the interview and obviously on their resume, sort of addressing that, why they've been in the same position for so long?
Unfortunately, sometimes, people get stagnant. They get comfortable with where they're at, what they're doing. Maybe they really enjoy the company that they work for, but they're ready to move on. They're ready to take on the next challenge. They're ready to branch out. They're ready for growth. And staying with you're having longevity with a company in the same position, and it's not a bad thing. It shows your loyalty to the company, that you're obviously very good at doing your job if you've had it for so long, and that the company enjoys having you in their organization. So I would say dealing with it best is just to put yourself out there, be open and honest that, you're ready to take on more responsibility. You're ready for a new challenge. You're ready to be motivated in a new position again and feel happy about doing so.
Gotcha. So turning, I'm not saying that being at the same job is a negative, but taking that aspect and turning it into a positive and running with it.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Jackie, anything else? Hey, look at that. We got a question. Is a resume considered good if it's a one-page Word document? Jackie, you want to tackle that one?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think that it's necessary to keep your resume to one page. Of course, you don't want to have 4 to 5 pages. You definitely want to highlight your skills, your education, relevant experience. But I think at least 1 to 2 pages is perfect. I really do not think you need to cut it short to 1 page at all. I edit resumes all the time. It's definitely important to show all of your growth experience.
Yeah, I as from time to time I hire and I agree wholeheartedly on that. Somebody who comes in with a resume that's multiple pages long, if it's relevant experience and it's all really really good stuff, it's great to read. But pretty much on a single page you can come across with the key elements that you need. But of course, if you have 2 pages worth of experience, by all means, go that route.
Absolutely.
Anything else from either of you on this topic today with regard to resume challenges and gaps in experience? Anything to wrap up with?
Yes. I would like to highlight the resume gaps. I do want to say that it's definitely viewed different since the pandemic. People are laid off. People are taking time off for educational reasons, personal reasons. One thing that you can do with working with a staffing agency is we educate our clients. We let them know, hey, they've been out of work for this reason. We also coach our candidates on how to approach those type of interview questions when they're asked. And life happens. It's okay to take time off. Like I said before, the only way to get out there is to put yourself out there.
I agree. I think with having those gaps in your resume, sometimes people think just because you weren't paid for it doesn't mean you shouldn't include it. Whether you're working for your kids' PTO, volunteer work for your church, being a handyman, those things are still could be relevant skills and knowledge that you've learned doing that. Say you were running social media for a local boutique for a few months while you took some time in between work, social media coordinator on your resume. It doesn't have to be, something you weren't paid for it. It's still relevant on your resume. You were still learning from it. You were still gaining experience from it, and you were still gaining skills.
Excellent points. Excellent points. Well, that does it for us. We've hit our time limit. Thank you both for attending today. I want to thank everybody who's out there watching us live. We appreciate you being here. As a reminder, follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube. Sound Off with System 1 episodes can be seen on YouTube, along with videos containing expert career and job search tips, hiring manager best practices, leadership insights, and more. Join us every Thursday at 2 p.m. Join us next week when Karen meets with Katie Gore, the president of Quadell, to discuss their efforts supporting the affordable housing industry. Again, that's 2 p.m. Eastern. On LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you for attending again today. We appreciate it, and we'll see you all soon.